What is up? This is your LA in a minute, and this is part 2 on the history of Compton, California, a rich and complex legacy started by Griffith Dickinson Compton in the 1860s, and we extended out to the 1970s in part 1. So let's find out what happened over the last 50 years. Let's get into it. Despite the white flight decimating the tax base of Compton in the 50s and 60s, the city had rebounded in the 1970s, electing first Douglas Dollarhide and then Doris Davis in 1973 as the first female black mayor of a metropolitan city in the United States. Compton was 65% African American by 1970, and it was a middle-class suburb reflected in the area's expansive streets and attractive single-family homes. During the same era, however, middle-class blacks found other areas more attractive. Ladera Heights, Windsor Hills, View Park, Inglewood, and Carson offered more favorable tax rates, and again, Compton's tax base and infrastructure suffered. Accordingly, growing unemployment, unfair treatment from the LAPD, and poverty led to an increase in crime and the formation of street gangs. Many blacks were dying at the hands of the police, and as a result of that and the demise of the Black Panther Party, many kids in the neighborhood wanted to join clubs and organized groups, which were the genesis of these street gangs. Stanley Tukey Williams and Raymond Washington started the notorious street gang, the Crips, in 1969. This triggered the creation of the rival gang, the Bloods, which originated on Piru Street in Compton. As drugs, especially crack cocaine, infiltrated the community, violence began to increase, and Compton became one of the most dangerous cities in America. In 1988, NWA released Straight Outta Compton, which profiled both gang life and police brutality in Compton. Compton became recognized as a city dominated by gangs and violence, and the LAPD decided that a crackdown was in order. Brutality continued and resentment began to fester. In 1992, the Rodney King beating happened, and the uprising occurred, after which gang violence peaked shortly thereafter. By this point, middle-class blacks began to leave the city. Compton's overall population dropped dramatically, and by the year 2000, Latinos represented the largest ethnic group in the city. As a city that was at one time nearly all white and at another time nearly all black, Compton entered the 21st century as a multicultural, multiracial community. With a strategic location along the Alameda Corridor and easy access to 5 different freeways, the community improvement is palpable, and it's drawn additional residents and sparked the interest of developers. The burgeoning population even required the first new school in 35 years to be built, the William F. Jefferson Clinton Elementary School. To show just how far the reputation of Compton has been transformed, Compton's Kendrick Lamar won the Pulitzer Prize for Music in 2018. Oh, and as far as the Richland farms that Griffith Dickinson Compton set aside in 1889, well, it's still being used proudly to this day by the Compton Cowboys. All right, LA, it's been a minute.